guess we'll just start with, Peter Fox has come out with some pretty explosive allegations. What's your response to them?
Look, I think I watched Peter's interview on Lateline. I think he's transparently sincere, and that's his experience. The reason I'm wanting to respond to things is more around his letter to the Premier, where he says all of those things kind of in the present tense. The church covers up, the church does not report, the church, and so on. Those things, to my mind, are simply not true, and I accept his experience and the frustration down the years. We all had it in earlier stages. But the fact of the matter is now in this diocese, every allegation of criminal conduct against a priest or a diocesan employee is reported to the police.
So you're saying there's obviously no cover-ups now, but can you say there haven't been?
No, I can't say that. Cover-up's an interesting term. I mean, mistakes were made, people did stupid things. I'm not sure that...
Abused children, you mean?
No, I mean when the knowledge that someone had abused a child came through, in former times, they'd be sent off for counselling or something or other and then moved to another spot, all right, we've dealt with that. There was a lot that wasn't understood, that was badly handled. I'm not convinced around criminal conspiracy, but an enormous amount of mistakes were made along the way when all of this stuff broke on people who really had no experience of it.
Peter says he's got, definite information and evidence of, cover-ups, of alerting offenders, destroying evidence, moving priests, not so long ago. What's your response to that?
Well, I think he probably has. We've owned up to quite a number of those things as things that happened and the way that things were handled. Around the not so long ago, I guess that depends on your perspective. The Wood Royal Commission in the middle of the 90s introduced a raft of new child protection legislation and things that I think broadly, in my experience, we've complied with pretty well, and they've changed and developed themselves over the years. So, the not so long ago, well, yeah, not now and not so recently, if I can put it that way.
So you're admitting that, mistakes have been made. Well, how do you feel about that? It's obviously they're quite explosive claims.
Well, look, I don't think they're explosive. The mistake, the Pope has acknowledged these things, for heaven's sake, quite apart from the Australian bishops or my predecessor. Things were badly handled, mistakes were made, and of course, the sheer fact of abuse. That's knowledge. We apologise. We tried very hard to get the house in order. That didn't happen overnight. But my only problem with what Peter has been saying is, as I say, that he has said of things that he's been investigating these things for 20 odd years. But he is speaking now as if these things are happening on a daily basis now as we speak. Now, as I say, things are reported, any allegation of criminal nature is reported to the police. Misconduct, sort of ones that are reportable, are reported to the Ombudsman. We've satisfied, I think, any request that police have made to us for information that we hold. We're sitting in the Bishop's house at Maitland. I've walked around here with police officers showing them everything they wanted to see. I would not want to argue with Peter's experience at all, except in recent years. And I just think my only problem with what he's saying, we've acknowledged all the problems many, many times. But I think it's the fact that he's had all of that negative experience in the past doesn't sort of make it right to say, and it's all still going on. People can get up and say that unchallenged, and my contention is that's not right.
So you're acknowledging the claims, but how far back are you acknowledging them?
Look,
What do you mean it's not in recent times, just to clear up what you mean by that?
Yeah, and I could fall over very badly here if I gave you a date and then someone came up with an instance after that. I think I'm right in thinking that no priest has simply been moved around when there was known abuse for ages.
How long is ages?
Not 15 years. Not in, I'll pull that figure out of the air. Not informing the police until the last couple of years. We respected the view of an adult who came to us and said, this happened to me, but I don't want to go to the police about it. We didn't. Now we do. We tell them, look, I'm sorry, but we have to inform the police of this in any case, and, whether you deal with them or not. Now that's a change in this diocese only in the last 2 or 3 years. From respecting an adult's wish not to have police told to saying, well, sorry, we're telling them. So I don't know. That's my thing. I just whether in the relatively recent past, like in that development, or I think in further back in the past when people were just moved or whatever. The point is not now. My only problem with Peter talking about all his experiences is that he's talking about them as if this is what happens day to day now. And the things I've just said, go ask the police. Do we report everything to them? Do we supply everything they want to see? Do we cooperate with, go ask the police. Don't take my word for it.
Peter's calling for a royal commission into all this. Mm-hmm. Do you think a royal commission is needed?
Can I make a little distinction? If I'm talking here I can't avoid talking as the Bishop of Maitland Newcastle. So I would quite welcome a royal commission if it is ultimately the judgment of other people that that's going to happen. I think it would give a great deal of satisfaction to victims who, want to get everything out there very much on the table. Because we had a royal commission, that's the great difference between New South Wales and Victoria, that child protection legislation and so on has been enormously reformed since the Wood Royal Commission. Completely different legislative framework. But do we need another one? Well, look, that's a debate for the public arena. If I honestly thought it was a matter of public interest for the protection of children now, I'd back it. But I think it's at least arguable, as the Premier argues, that a lot of that stuff in New South Wales has been done. I think it might be good for the Church to have the facts on the table rather than the speculation and everybody thinking they know exactly what happened. I think it would actually be a good thing for the Church to have the Royal Commission. It'd be a good thing for victims. Is it in the public interest to the extent of the millions of dollars it might cost the state? Well, that's let people argue the public interest.
Do you think it's worth the money?
If the aim is to provide protection to children from child abuse and so on, I think a lot of that work has been done. If, as the Premier has said, if the Victorian thing throws up matters that we haven't known about or dealt with in New South Wales, well and good. But I think it's at least arguable that if the aim is better protection, if the aim is to satisfy victims, I would love to see them get that satisfaction. But it's a public interest question, and as Bishop, that's not really I don't call royal commissions, or I would advocate it if I strongly believed it was urgently necessary, but I'm not convinced of that in New South Wales.
Just finally, what would you say to Peter Fox, because he is quite, this means a lot to him, as you said, he spent years and he's fired up quite a lot about it. What would you say to him?
Well, look, I would very much welcome talking to him. we could share some experiences. I've got a few frustrations of my own from the last 25 years around things that have, been badly handled or whatever. Look, I think he's genuine. I think he's got to be passionate about this, and I understand all of that. I would like to have him ask me the questions you're asking me, and give him the assurances that I'm giving you. And if he has things to say to me that contradict that as matters of fact and around present matters, I'd be delighted to hear them.